are live. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Desi Ballers podcast. Hey Gopal, what's up?
What's up, man? I'm excited, bro. We are a series again, so that's cool.
So, game two, the Heat steal the home court advantage. They literally have to just win out all their home games right now to win the series. The Heat beat the Denver Nuggets in a close game, 111 to 108. It went to the last possession, of course. And Gopal, what were your thoughts on this game? Can you summarize it quickly for the audience?
Yeah. So, for context, it's important to for those who are just tuning into the finals. I don't know if you are only tuning into the finals, what we've been doing so far. But game one, right? Game one, sort of Nuggets were pretty much leading from start to finish. It was sort of one-sided in a sense. They didn't look uncomfortable. So the whole question was, what adjustments would the Miami Heat make? Right. So that
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's how this game started. Kevin Love back in the starting lineup, which I think was huge, pun intended, because Miami Heat is super small. Right. So for them to bring Kevin Love into the starting lineup, it allowed Jimmy Butler to guard Jamal Murray. Right. So that was huge. And even if you look at the numbers that we're going to sort of break down in this game, with Kevin Love on the floor versus Kevin Love off the floor, there was a big positive shift for Miami, right? So that was a big change that Kevin Love is back in the starting lineup and he is guarding Aaron Gordon, right? So these were some uh, major shifts in terms of how this game started, and we saw Miami sort of go on an initial run, right? I think they led by double digits, and then of course the Nuggets can't be slowed down, right? Christian Braun came in off the bench, huge energy, and he swung it back, and then third quarter. I'm just doing a quick summary, right? So the third quarter, Nikola Jokic did his Jokichisms, right? That guy is like an education man. Just watching that guy, right? So he just took over, and then the fourth quarter saw a huge Miami comeback, right? I didn't look by the end of the third. It looked like Nuggets are totally cruising, winning this, but it was an improbable. As far as I'm concerned, I did not see this coming. So for me, it's like Miami thieves because they have stolen a game on the road, right? So yeah, this was huge. This was huge for Miami, and if you look at it, it looks like the Miami have an advantage now, right? They got one on the road and they're going back home. So yeah, that's basically the summary. Nikola Jokic had 41 points, but only 4 assists, right? So that I think is one of those headlines worth talking about. So yeah, that's pretty much the game in a nutshell.
So as Gopal was talking about this, I was checking the box plus minus, and Kevin Love in a game which Miami Heat won by 3 points had a box plus minus of 18.
Wow, wow, yeah, crazy, crazy.
And of course, absolutely incredible. One crazy player whom when I was seeing the highlights, I was just shocked was Duncan Robinson having 10 points in 2 minutes. Oh my god. I
Oh,
was like, what the
about
hell is
that,
going
yeah,
on?
yeah. So about Duncan Robinson, since you mentioned it, for context, right? So Duncan Robinson's points all came at the start of the fourth, okay, which was huge. So this is not something that you would expect, right? But this is something we've noticed about Duncan Robinson in these playoffs, right? He's not just a spot up shooter
He's
from
very
the outside.
streaky.
Not just streaky, he's also able to sort of drive and score off the dribble, which I think is a huge improvement. Because if you look at the reasons why he was out of the rotation during the regular season, one is that he can't play defense, and
And two,
second is that
he had become a single dimensional player.
exactly, right? So this is a huge positive, and he's also playmaking, right? So it's not just about him getting into the paint or making layups. He's also facilitating, dishing out, creating offense. So Duncan Robinson, the playmaker, that was huge, man. Those 10 points were huge for Miami.
Absolutely. So, guys, I'll just show you what 10 points we're referring to. This
Yeah.
was crazy. This is when literally the Heat is actually trailing the Nuggets. It's the fourth quarter, right? If he doesn't do this, I don't think they win. And just see this. He comes off a screen, just pulls up out of nowhere, and it's a three. So cuts the lead to two.
Yeah, yeah. It's not just that I think he scored again on the left
Yeah.
elbow. I think he got. But I see these were the sort of defensive lapses that Coach Michael Malone was talking about,
Mhm.
right? They kept giving him airspace.
This is
All,
one
all
more.
right, or this is the one
Oh,
where
this
the
was Gabe Vincent I hit. Sorry.
no. So
Yeah.
this also is an overreaction, Nikhil. If you look at it, they
Yes.
sent
So they're trying
two people
to
on.
exactly.
Yeah,
This is a
sorry. Go ahead.
mistake from the this is mistake from the Nuggets where why is Bruce Brown and Christian Brown covering him?
Yeah.
So I mean he just killed it. Those 10 points is what I think really cut the Nuggets momentum. Gopal, what do you think?
Yeah. So yeah, the 10 points came at the good time, but even after that, you also had, I think Jimmy Butler also, I think, had eight late in the fourth period.
Hmm.
Uh, then Gabe Vincent also hit big shots. So this was also a huge shift, right? If you look at game one, Miami was not able to, hit anything from the 3 point line, right? So this entire game, I'm sure you're looking at the numbers now.
They Miami hit almost 50% from the three at 35 shot attempts. So they were
That's
even
great.
17 to 35. I don't know how the Nuggets just lost by 3 then, looking at these numbers.
Yeah, no. So this the one thing about the Nuggets is they were able to get out in transition, especially in the middle quarters. That was one huge thing for them, and obviously Jokic hit 41. Also, the fact is that Miami is still not getting a lot of consistent scoring in the paint, right? Because in the first game they were struggling from inside and outside. So here they got it going from the outside, but I still think they need to do more in terms of drawing Nikola Jokic out
Hmm.
and sort of playing inside, right? So
Hmm.
that's the reason why, according to me, the game was still close. But yeah, man, it was nuts, man, nuts to see. Honestly, I thought the Nuggets are going to win this, but I think now the series is like well and truly open, which is good for all of us because I don't think we want like a sweep in the NBA finals. That would be just sad for all of us. So yeah, it's great for Miami and they're going back home. Uh, that's going to be another very interesting sort of point to note, right? If their role players are going to continue performing at their best back home, this could be an uphill task for the Nuggets, right? So that's very interesting as far as I'm concerned.
So let's talk about some of the some of the comments in the Eklavya's the NBA basketball community. Guys,
Yeah.
by the way, just scan that code right there if you want to join in.
Yes.
So of course, after game one, I had an overreaction that the Nuggets sweep is incoming. Uh,
Huh. Huh.
many people said, "Dude, what are you saying?" Vishnu Srinivas specifically said, if anyone thinks Nuggets are going to have a cakewalk, sorry, the Heat is going to give a run for their money.
Correct.
Now, let's move to the next game. So this was a great game, a great comeback by Miami Heat.
Yeah.
I don't think they take another game, Gopal. Everything
You
had to go
okay?
right for them. Uh, they made so many defensive mistakes, the Denver Nuggets. And despite a lot of things going right for Miami Heat, they only won by 3. I don't think Jamal Murray has a slightly better game, which we've seen him have. MPJ has a slightly better game, and they take it. Like
Hmm.
I don't understand. I think people are overreacting, thinking it's going to be a long series now. I told
Hmm.
gentleman sweep or a sweep, so probably they just win out. According to me. I mean, what do you think?
No. So again, see, the fact is that Miami split, right, the first two games. They won
Mhm.
on the road. I know now this whole home and away thing is meaning less and less, but the Nuggets had not lost at home in the playoffs. The last time they lost at home was in the regular season on March 30th. Okay, that's how far back we have to go, right? So the context of Miami, after being sort of behind for 3 quarters, to find that punch. By the way, it was looking very bad for Miami at the end of the third because for everything that the Miami did, okay, Denver countered. So I'll give you some specific examples. So when Miami was hitting from the outside, okay, they started with Max Strus who went crazy in the first half. Then you had Denver answer, right, through Jamal Murray and all these guys. Then you had Miami trying to play scrappy. Then Bruce Brown answered playing scrappy. Third quarter, when nothing else was working for Denver, Nikola Jokic went ape shit, right? That's, so my point is that it was not looking good for Miami. So I'm saying in the context of that, for Miami to be able to come back, and find these unlikely heroes like Duncan Robinson. Bam Adebayo, for me, was a revelation in this game, because obviously he's not trying to be Jokic, but he's a Jokic kind of player in the
Hmm.
sense of his ability to facilitate. Right, with Jimmy Butler had a pretty average game by his standards. When Butler was on the bench, uh, Bam was sort of heading the offense, right? And then you had Robinson and all these guys, constantly cutting. So I'm just saying there are so many positives which indicate that Miami will feel confident, right? Obviously, now Denver is also going to make adjustments, of course. There is no doubt about it. And like you said, MPJ needs to have. MPJ was not visible in this game. In fact, he went down to his worst habits, where he not even closing out on shooters. Okay, so obviously you can't have. And then KCP, Nikhil
He
KCP
had,
made
I saw he
you saw
had
the
two
fouls.
fouls on three. Oh, dude. I think,
6 points.
I think honestly that settled the game, man.
Yeah,
Because those two very uncharacteristic fouls by KCP, who's been a tremendous defender.
yeah,
I was like, that too in the last two possessions for the Heat. I mean, Heat must have been like, oh my god, we never expected to get this. Uh,
correct.
what that also does is it, prevents Denver from going on transition when it goes to the three at the end
Yeah,
of the game.
yeah,
I think that settled the game, honestly. Those
correct.
two 3-point fouls. What do you think?
Yeah, it was, that's what I'm saying. It was so uncharacteristic, right, for KCP to do this. So you're right. I think you do expect a huge. So I do see Denver winning the next game,
Hmm.
but I won't go as far to say that it's going to be done in five, right? Because I've definitely seen enough from Miami to for me to warrant optimism that it's going to six, right? And honestly, if you forget everything else, if you just go by what we have seen, the fact is Miami again have home court, right? So historically, that does matter, right? So if you can make an argument, are at an advantage here. Who would have thought that, right? After two games, you're looking at Miami, which is going into game three with an edge, a positive edge, right? So, but yeah, I do think this whole they had to make that adjustment, right? The main adjustment of trying to play bigger, right? So I was wondering if they're going to go with Kevin Love or they're going to start with someone like Highsmith,
Hmm.
right? So then you have Jimmy Butler sort of guarding Aaron Gordon instead of, say, perhaps trying to guard Jamal Murray, right? So
Hmm.
but they decided to go for a bigger switch. They got Kevin Love back into the lineup. I honestly I was surprised that he was even out of the rotation. Kevin Love didn't even play the previous three games.
Hmm.
So for me, I was like, why didn't you just do this? Like, if something's working for you, it's not broken, why try to fix it?
Right.
Right. So I think if just imagine if Kevin Love had actually played game one, had started in game one, what would have happened perhaps? What if they'd stolen two on the road? Right. So so it's crazy to think that just one adjustment has resulted in a difference of a win and a loss on the road. So
See, my counterpoint to you is this. Through three quarters, despite all these adjustments, it was still the Nuggets game. It
hmm.
was because of the fourth quarter lapse in judgment, mistakes, why Nuggets lost, not because of the Heat's adjustment, is what I think.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a combination of things, right? So even the Nuggets, obviously they made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, which is why we're going to see a much better and balanced Nuggets in game 3. I think Nikola Jokic also realizes now that, hey man, I was doing what the Heat wanted me to do, which is to score 41 points and only dish out 4 assists, right? So there is going to be a huge adjustment and a huge swing back in momentum in favor of Nuggets, which is why I have the Nuggets take game 3. But again, that's the whole beauty of it, right? You have two teams which make very few mistakes. Obviously, Denver made more of it, which is why they lost. But the
Correct.
fact is that these are two near perfect teams, and we have spoken about, right? The only advantage that the Heat have is that they are very very disciplined, they're very efficient, they don't make mistakes, right? So it's going to be more of that. And
Hmm.
like you said, the Denver will have an improved performance, and
Yep.
honestly I won't even be surprised if Denver blows out Heat in game 3 if they are really firing on all the cylinders.
True. And the reason why I say that I expect them to win out the next few games is this, that say what you want when it comes to the finals. I have seen enough finals to tell you this, that the team with the best player inevitably dominates.
Yeah.
For instance, Giannis against the Suns, despite being down 0-2, won out the remaining four games. For instance, last year, Steph Curry and Warriors, despite being down 2-1, won out the last, three games. And in this series, even now, there's no denying that who's the best player. It's Jokic. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no question. Whatever adjustment Miami Heat make is for Jokic, is to figure out Jokic. And I mean, and that's where it lies. Now, the part of me telling that I think they win out is because I think this is the Heat's best punch, Gopal. I don't think they get better than this, especially in this series.
Yeah. So to go back to your point, right? Even we all think about this, right? I agree with you that Jokic is by far like head and shoulders, literally and figuratively, above. Like he's playing at another stratosphere, right?
Right.
So there is no doubt about that. But simply going by what I have seen from the Miami role players, okay, it's
Okay.
one thing for role players to play well at home, okay, and it's another thing for role players to play well on the road. Second is to play well down the stretch in the clutch. Okay, so these are two things that I think make Miami Heat's role players for me really stand out, right? So
Okay.
I think, and that's the unique thing about Miami, right? And a team that has Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is one of those rare superstars that is willing to genuinely go second gear when he sees his teammates playing well, right? So I think that's a very unique trait that Jimmy Butler has, right? And we saw that today also. Like today, Jimmy Butler was the role player today, effectively, right? Except for those last few minutes where he hit those 8 points. So I think how Miami and the beauty of the Miami Heat offense is that they are not reliant on one superstar. Correct? That's what I'm saying. It's a very unlikely approach because, like you said, history bears witness to the fact that the team which has a better player always usually wins out. But I look at Miami as a pack of wolves. Okay, Jimmy Butler is just like a bigger wolf, but he's still a wolf, right? Going up against like a lion, like Jokic or an elephant. Okay, because elephants are intelligent apparently. That's a stereotype. So I'm saying it's a bunch of wolves versus an elephant. Okay, so for me it's interesting. If any team can do it, where without having a star drop, like crazy games, game after game, I think Miami is the one that can do it. And if they do, Nikhil, we're looking at an incredible, what a run, right? But
Story.
again,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but again, we are jumping the gun. I don't want to go there yet, but I'm saying that if anyone can do it, it is a team like Miami with a coach like Spoelstra.
Interesting.
But I pick Nuggets. I pick Nuggets. Okay, so I'm just putting it back
No,
out there.
dude, all this thing, I see the win. Many people are. Sorry, Gopal, I think you're disconnected. I didn't. Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm here.
Yeah. So, I feel after game one, of course, I was overreacting. But I think I'm reading Reddit, reading the WhatsApp messages and all. I think there's a way bigger overreaction than I had.
Hmm.
Because, dude, all I'm saying is this, right? Two of Denver Nuggets relatively consistent players, they have not much better games. 3% or 5% better games, and we're having a completely different conversation today.
Correct.
Just 3 to 5% better games by Jamal Murray and MPJ. And I think they will have. And what I'm saying is the counterpoint that this was Miami's best punch, Gopal. I don't think Duncan Robinson gets another 2 minute stretch where he gets 10 points straight. I don't think KCP is going to foul on two back to back possessions on the three for 6 straight points. I don't think that happens again throughout the whole series. What I'm saying is this: despite all the adjustments Miami Heat made, it was such a close game that it came down to these very crazy mistakes which the Denver Nuggets did. It was not to coming to the most controversial point, which people may get angry, but I feel it was not the Heat who beat the Nuggets; it was Nuggets who beat themselves. And there's a
So,
big difference in that. Like
yeah.
being able to beat a team is when they give a great punch and they still lose. Like that's when you say, okay, you beat that team. I didn't think the Heat beat my Denver Nuggets. I think they just fumbled the game.
No, so how the Miami Heat plays? Okay, we will look at previous series.
Mhm.
Miami Heat relies on the other team messing up. Okay.
Yeah, this is so crazy. This is so similar to the Spurs, right? 2014, 2011 Spurs. Like typically they'll not make mistakes. They'll play, 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. And if you play 10 out of 10, you beat them. But if you play 9 out of 10, it's a close game. And if you play 8 out of 10, you lose the game. Like,
No, but my point is that doesn't take away from Spurs or Miami, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
they understand their limitations.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I think that does no disservice at all. I don't think it's a knock on Miami that they exploit the opponent's mistakes. Right? There are so many
Mhm.
other teams that if the other team makes mistakes, even they make their own mistakes. Right? So I think it's very underrated, the
Mhm.
ability to not make mistakes and play consistently.
Right.
Okay, so I don't think that's so for me. It's a combination of both. I think yes, the Nuggets did not play well, but Miami also came out firing, right? Like they could have very easy. Because I also feel, for example, against the Nuggets team, if you allow them to go up, right? If they start off a game with a 10-point lead, it's very hard to claw back against the Nuggets because their offense
Yeah.
is so potent,
Yeah.
right? So credit to Miami the way they came out, right? Dude, Struz hit three of his first three, and that guy was 0 of 9 in
Yeah.
his previous game, right? So I'm just saying, you have to still bring it, right? You have to still bring it so that you're in a position where if your opponent makes mistakes, you can capitalize on it. So for me, it's a bit of both, and it's not honestly not about winning by 3 or winning by 20, right? A win is a win, and a win on the road, right? And a win against the Nuggets, right? So I just think the confidence and all these other factors play into it. I think the Nuggets did not come out with the kind of energy they should have, especially on the defensive end. Like you said, they were not closing out on shooters; they were giving tons of airspace, and to do that 2 games in a stretch and not expect to face some adverse consequence of that. Then, like you said, the Nuggets had it coming because the defense was simply not good enough.
True. So, guys, that was the show for today. Tomorrow's prediction, I mean, the next game's prediction, of course, Gopal and me both. I have the Nuggets winning out, man. I don't know why. I just feel that
Yeah.
today's win for the Miami Heat doesn't mean as much as many people are reacting, including you.
What if
Huh.
Miami Heat win the next game? Then would you be like like borderline converting?
No, man. I still think even if the Miami Heat win the next game, I don't think they have enough to beat Jokic, dude. It's this guy is a beast. You if he realizes that none of his other teammates are hitting the shot the next game, I think he'll go for 60. He doesn't care. Like he always tells this, right? He gives what the he takes what the game is giving him, and maybe what he should have done in today's game is instead of just taking 28 shots, he should have taken 35 shots. You never know because none of his
Hmm.
teammates were hitting, and I know he's going to hit that at a 50, 40, 90 clip.
Yeah.
So, like, this is what I'm saying.
No, no. So, but see, Nikhil, what I liked about this, I love it when there's a punch and a counter punch, right? So for me, this is a sign of two good teams, two well coached teams, that they're immediately able to plug whatever gaps there are and come back, right? So it'll be great to see if the Nuggets come back strong and take game three. I think they will. I think it's going to be a 15-point Nuggets win.
Mhm.
But again, this is the whole Miami Heat, right? None of us expected them to even be here. So well, let's see.
Cool, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do subscribe to Eklavya's, scan the QR code, and join the WhatsApp community. See you all in our next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.